Have you ever asked yourself the question, what does it mean to survive? What am I personally responsible for in this quest for survival? Well, I asked myself that question almost 13 years ago, and here's what I found. 1, it's really hard work. 2, all the skills and stuff and resources and tools aren't enough. And 3, not only did I learn how to survive, I found that it was killing me in the process. I'm going to take a deep breath, and with that, my friends, I hope you will join me on this short journey as I ask that question, what happens when we focus on taking responsibility for our own survival? So the real question is, can you hear the flies buzzing around? Well, again, long hiatus between videos. But this one is a little bit different. So I'm doing a couple things. 1, as you saw in the title, this is going to be a heavy video concept. And if you are in any kind of crisis, feeling suicidal ideation or very severe chemical imbalance regarding depression, this is not meant to address that, and you really need to seek help in a more traditional format. But with that said, I want to talk about something that's equally important, and that's what you saw in the title, Losing the Will to Live. This isn't lightweight, this isn't clickbait, this is real. And what I've done is I decided to go ahead and record this story in long form at the podcast without flies, and I'm going to do the short version with you here. And so with that, we're going to take a deep breath and we're going to dive in. So this story began a long time ago. There's never been a day or time when I don't remember being tired, but this winter I have really just hit a wall with the level of pain and fatigue that I've been experiencing. And I don't say that lightly, and I don't say that in a way to elicit any kind of sympathy. I say that because for me, it was a great big wake-up call. And a couple things have happened. 1, I've hit a wall. I'd like to say I've hit rock bottom, and that's a pun because I also have this whole thing with rocks going on, but separately. I spent the winter in the desert, and I really wasn't sure if I was going to survive. I didn't go into the desert this winter really thinking I was going to come out. And on the way back, I had to face this reality that I don't have a plan because I wasn't really sure I was going to live through the winter. And I did, but driving back, I'm back at my trailer. I'm back in New Mexico. Driving back, I just had this epiphany that if something doesn't change, I'm going to die. And I don't mean that in a hysterical, poor me kind of way. I mean that, and I believe we create our reality. And I am creating a reality that I am becoming unable to extricate myself from through pure push and drive and willpower, because I'm losing the very basic will to live. Now, I've had a long history with being suicidal, and this isn't what I'm talking about. This is different. This isn't, I'm planning on how to get rid of myself. This is me waking up every day less capable, less able to take care of me and the dogs. And the story is long. So the short version is, I left my home in 2011. I decided to ask the question, what does it mean to take personal responsibility for our survival? And I have that answer. But what I found, and I wasn't counting on, was what it would take from me, thinking I was just going out to explore a question that would bring good to me. And somewhere, between when I turned the electricity off and I disconnected from the internet and I moved into a off-grid world, trying to learn and understand what grid down, no grid, would mean for us as individuals, us as humans, somehow I lost my capacity to have any joy come in, because my entire existence was basically chop wood, carry water. And I've run away the last 2 winters to the desert because it's become too much. And if you've been following me for a while, you can hear me repeatedly talking about, the fact I'm tired, but I haven't been very honest about how bad it's gotten. And it's gotten really bad. Really bad. And it's not something a pill can fix. Money can't fix it. A lifestyle change can't fix it. There's no way for me to live in this world, short of being in a nursing home where someone wants to change my diapers, which is not an option for me. There's nothing to fix it, because what I've come to understand is the real problem is the energy imbalance. All of my energy has gone into the never-ending list of all the things I don't want to do, but I believe I must do to survive, because I've created such a core, basic lifestyle of chop wood, carry water. I literally carry my water, that there's been no infusion of joy, of connection, of love, of creativity. And you'll hear that, in my long story. I'll go over this in a lot more detail, but I wanted to touch base here because I've gone through several stages. I left California in my little tiny trailer, which I loved. I did such a good job creating this beautiful little home that just sort of systematically fell apart, because any home sort of falls apart over time. The white got dirty, the corners got cruddy. I never found the hole, that the mice were coming in. And, I made this decision to move into the horse trailer, which is essentially became, years of a bed living in a closet. I've been fighting with my stuff for most of the last 15 years. I've been seeking some way to be in the world that I could feel good about. And what happened along the way is I got lost in the never-ending work that survival requires. Now the problem is it's a real question. What does it take to survive, to get food, to get water, to build shelter, to create community, to make an income, to have an exchange? It is so much work in our current system of lack of cooperation. While it's possible, and lots of people are doing it, I lost my way in it. And every day has gotten harder. More to do, less energy to do it. More still left to do, less energy to do it. To the point where I have been so low in the pond, right? I'm sinking and I don't have the energy to push myself up. Nothing is coming into my existence that's fueling me in a positive way, in a loving way, in a joyful way, in a vitality way. Everything is energy going out, and there's nothing coming back in. And the reason I'm talking about this is that I don't think it's just me. I think, what's going on in our world with movies and television and books and people yelling all over the internet, and the lies we tell ourselves about what survival means and how easy it is to live off-grid and all these things, that we are being programmed into a dystopian, apocalyptic future that doesn't need to happen. But I think the crowning jewel of this process was me trying to find a way to be in the world that energized me, connecting with people that fueled me in a positive way. And what I've learned, and this is just my experience, what I've learned is that it's not a problem that needs to be solved. It's a reality that needs to be faced. And most of us aren't yet willing to do what it takes to build the kind of community that isn't about just struggling to survive in some kind of lone wolf, grid down world where we defend the last bits of our food from the roving hordes, because it isn't going to work. If we don't have joy, if we don't have beauty, if we don't have culture, if we don't have connection, if we don't have love, if we don't have meals that are shared graciously, sorry if the wind now decided to blow, if we don't have a way to be together to make all of this scary future bearable, it's not going to be just me that loses the will to live. And it's my suspicion there's a lot of us that are doing that out in the world right now. So like I said, this went through multiple phases. You know, I started off thinking I would find a community. I went hardcore and I understood what it really meant to survive. I'm as prepared and competent and capable with tools, skills, all that stuff. Again, more noise. There's nothing like making a video that activates the rest of the world. And it ended with me being so physically, mentally, emotionally depleted that I can't take care of us. So I have decided, you know, either there needs to be a radical change or this will be the last video. I don't want it to be. I don't choose to let go of my will to live, but I'm hyper aware that I've lost it. And so I've made this decision in the last few weeks that I have to get my will to live back, whatever it takes, because I will not physically survive because I've got nothing keeping me alive. Even the dogs aren't enough, right? The fantasy someday is not enough. There's got to be a radical shift in my thinking, in my feeling, in my energy, in my organization of my day. If it doesn't change in what I've been calling a massively creative way, if there's not a big infusion of things that I love, of a life I want, then I'm going to die in a survival scenario in which I have lost my capacity to save my own life. That's the grand irony, isn't it? That I set off to figure out what does it take to survive physically in this world, and I arrived at the reality without mental, emotional, and spiritual joy and connection and love and heart and creativity and beauty and all these things that we've taken for granted and been manipulated and coerced and programmed to believe we can live without. It's a lie. You know, we owe a great debt of gratitude to our ancestors for not only their fight to survive the elements. You have no idea, if you've not embarked on any of these off-grid scenarios, you have no idea how hard it is, how much energy it takes. It is every day. It is discipline, vigilance. You can never let your guard down. It is exhausting. And without any balance to that, it's unsustainable. And the thing that really kind of tipped me over the edge was this reality is it's not a world to bring children into. You cannot raise a child with no laughter, no hope, no beauty, and no comfort, connection, and love. You just can't. There is no life without these basic and essential things that are built into the necessity of the human experience. If we let them go, it won't just be me that's lost their will to live. It'll be all of us. So I'm not making this as a plea for pity or charity or agreement that life is hard. I'm making this because if I don't do something radically different, I am going to die. If we collectively don't do something radically different, humanity will die. And there's so much beauty and there's so much good that there's no reason for this to happen. But it's happening. It's hard to look at the truth. It's hard to participate in the daily necessities of what it means to be responsible for your own survival. It's exhausting, exclusively chopping wood and carrying water with no joy. And it's a reality that we all need to face. It is a decision we all must make. So again, I'm coming to you because I've made this decision. I don't want to die. I have got to recapture my will. I have got to find hope. There must be hope in my heart, or I will not be able to find a reason to live. And I'm serious. It's a very difficult thing to say out loud. I'm not talking about wanting to end my life. I'm talking about the reality that I create my life. And what I've created is killing me, with the grand irony being I only wanted to understand what it meant to survive, which apparently is very different than having a real life. So with that, I'm going to invite you to take the links below over to the podcast over on Substack, where I'm going to really kind of go over this. It's about an hour in much more detail, but I wanted to stimulate that thought and that question. Where is your will to live? And will you be able to hold on to it as this world just sort of continues to disintegrate? I hope to be back with you soon. I hope to be able to find a way to participate in the world that fuels the vitality of my heart and my life force, and not lose the battle in my push to survive that is slowly killing me. So it is with great humility I say this. It is great gratitude that I offer it to you. And it's with great hope that you will hear me before you find yourself in a situation where you are alone and drowning the way I've been. So with that, I'm going to take a deep breath. Again, I hope you'll join me over at the podcast. And I, fingers crossed, will see you next time.